Warm greetings from Rumi School of Life. As we are approaching the end of 2024, I'm sure a lot of you guys have reflected on the challenging year that we had. The war in Ukraine, the conflict in Middle East, economy, Mr. Trump, the US elections, and the environmental disasters and the scale that have been unprecedented. As we near the end of this year, a lot of people like me will start to look back and reflect on the events of the year that passed, and it passed so quickly. And most importantly, they reflect on their own lives, actions, failures, and accomplishments. I'm also sure that this reflection will involve various emotions, such as regret, joy, sorrow, anger, agony, and relief in some cases. When Rumi School of Life asked me to do a short video about the start of the new year, I wondered what kind of a message would resonate with myself, with my family, with friends, and loved ones. Of course, I could always wish them the best, wish them and pray for their health, a year filled with joy and prosperity. But I thought, if Rumi was alive, what kind of advice would he provide? He actually has done that, and in his poetry and writings, he's given us fantastic advice, a timeless advice. Although it's been over 800 years since he's lived, today I think some of the most practical advice and teachings that one could follow comes from Rumi. I did work for the past 30 years as a student following his advice and reading his book. I also did a part of my thesis, my doctorate thesis on Rumi and his teachings. And I find some of them amazing for both business and personal life. And it has guided me through turbulent, unpredictable, and yet the wonderful world that I've been privileged to live in. I also like to share some of these lessons with you in the hope that you could also benefit from them. I could only imagine how life unfolded in the days that Rumi walked the streets of Konya in the 13th century. That's a city that he lived in, and he's buried there. How people were interacting, were they happy? Did they worry about the future as much as we do worry today? And were they thinking that they're living a life worth living? I do not have those answers, but through his writings and poems, I could see that people struggle with the same issues as we are today: family, income, prosperity, love, and the big major question of why we exist and how could we be happy. I came across some of his wisdom and some of the words that he has used to describe how us as humans need to interact with our daily chores and life in general. Let me quote Rumi on one of his most profound sayings. And this saying is something that you should really try to incorporate in your life. He says, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself." I think this is the fundamental and the foundation of our journey, whether we have started it or we are yet to find out. His wisdom could shine light in this journey and could help us in the passage and in the path that we need to take to make life worth living, filled with purpose and joy. Christmas in the Western world, unfortunately, has been commercialized, and giving, the sharing, and usually it translates into wrapped gifts that contain material objects. In my opinion, there is no greater gift than sharing our human connections through love and caring, not only for ourselves, for others, but also for the world and the environment we live in. So we take this opportunity of Christmas, and with that spirit, I like to share a few lessons that I found through Rumi that are applicable not only today, but they were applicable 800 years ago, so they have been through the test of time. Let me start with a story, a true story. Some 30 years ago, when I was living in Dubai, I encountered a teacher for a self-development course that I took that dramatically changed my life. I remember this teacher taught me a technique of how to deal with situations or people that I didn't like, and they caused me anxiety. I'd like to share that technique with you today. I hope that you also would find it useful and use it whenever you're in situations that you want the impact of that situation or that person to disappear from your thought process and emotions. So whenever you encounter a person or a situation, or have encountered a person or a situation that brings you anxiety, think of them as a balloon. And the whole idea is that when you keep blowing into that balloon and inflate this balloon, you keep doing it enough that this balloon will burst. So it is simple. It is my understanding that when you face your challenges, you deal with a situation or the person and put the past behind you and not letting it affect you. So by diminishing that event or that person and the anxiety that they cause you, you actually get rid of them and you become free of that event or that person. It might not be easy or it might require many tries, but it's definitely a worthwhile try. I want to also talk about a lot of times what bothers you. It's really not factual. It's your perception, your thoughts, and your emotions of dealing with that situation. So in that case, when you close your eyes, you imagine someone or something that has done you wrong, take a deep breath, exhale that breath into that balloon, and just keep doing it till the balloon reaches its maximum limit. And then at the one final blow, it will burst. And you keep repeating that. Every time that you do that, eventually this balloon will burst a lot sooner. And you come to a point that when you think about that event or that person, that balloon with a few nice blows will get inflated and it'll burst. Make sure it bursts with a loud sound and it disappears far away from your imagination, from your thought, from your emotions. Remember, these events all have happened in the past, and there is no way that you could change them. They belong to the history bin, and worrying about them and worrying about something that you could not change is not only futile, but also crazy. Nobody in the right mind will think that they could change what is taken place in the past. It's only stealing your attention and energy that could be used for more positive things. And at the present, you need all that energy to figure out your direction in life. You need to figure out how to deal with now, the moment that exists today. So don't waste your precious energy and time on the past. Of course, you need to learn lessons from it, but you don't need to dwell on it. The same thing applies to the future, but in a different way. You must and need to plan your future, but setting realistic goals that you're passionate about. There's no point, there are of course goals in life that you need to achieve because there is necessities out there, you have responsibilities, but there ought to be something that you're passionate about. And then you shouldn't let the future to be discouraging and to create anxiety because you fear or you doubt your path. Even if you've gone on a wrong path, it's always never too late that you could change your course, you could find out what you resonate with, and you could begin again. It doesn't mean that we should not plan a future that we are not happy with, or we should not take time to figure out the practicalities of life, the knowledge we need to function in this world, the interactions that are necessary. But remember, you need to be passionate about these goals. So there is a place between the past and the future that we need to operate from. That place between past and future is this moment. It's actually where we are today and how we could take advantage of this moment to be a better version of ourselves without the past and the future. So this place is called now, and this very moment where we have an opportunity to be grateful for our existence and feel a part of this huge universe that's so interconnected. And then we all belong to this huge force that's life, and help us really manifest our dreams today and tomorrow. Are elements that in our life we shouldn't be burdened by. The past, I recognize that is only there for us to learn from, to reflect upon, but that shouldn't be a cause of anxiety. The future hasn't come yet, so although we plan it, but it shouldn't really take us to a nowhere land of confusion and fear. Where this crossroad of yesterday and tomorrow is meaningful is today. And you're placed on this earth because you are a part of this amazing and interconnected universe. And your mission is to find your passion and the role you're destined to play and the impact you need to create. Once you find your calling, give it all you have, wholeheartedly, and remain connected to your true self. Trust the universe and accept the outcome. You will dance through life with ease and joy because your energy resonates with your true calling. And the best method to be there is to drop that ego. We all carry this baggage of who we should be and what people think about us, and we spend a lot of energy dealing with that. Trust your heart, trust your soul, and just figure out on your own which is the best path that you need to take. And how do you find it out? Well, the first step is learning to listen to your heart and soul. They're in harmony with the nature and the universe. You just need to trust them and let them show you the way. Trust your heart and listen to it, especially when you're searching for the true calling, your true calling in life. You need to spend time, you need to reflect, you need to be in a silent place, not disrupted by daily chore, and you need to spend time for yourselves. Unfortunately, we begin to clutter our minds. We bring a stress, we bring worries, we bring fear into our daily life. So we create an environment of despair and energy that is wasted on things that don't matter. To make us whole and to get back into the amazing connections that we should have with nature, we need to shatter our ego, and we need to not label things, not judge things good and bad. We need to learn to observe and not let the events that are out of our control actually control us. That's where a lot of energy, unfortunately, is wasted. We actually need to undo a lot of what has been done to us, and we've been trained in a certain way through our schooling, through our family, through our culture, to cope with things that have been imposed on us, and then we feel heavy because this is not really who we are. We are just playing a game, and we are having a role that is not really our mandate in life. And we just go on and go on and go on and get comfortable with it and then fear any change. Again, I like to quote Rumi on a saying that it resonates with me, and it's your road, and it's your road alone. Others could walk it with you, but nobody could walk it for you. So it's your journey, you're responsible for it, you have to decide what it is. There are moments in life that we feel lost, that seems that our efforts are not producing any results or results that we wish. The chores of daily life is more daunting than our capacity to handle. And remember, that's okay. It's normal. We all go through that. It's human. And again, suffering is a part of it. Through suffering is where we find strength. We find the light. We find where our destiny needs to take us. Life will not overwhelm me or you if you flow with it. And if you use your best abilities to follow your passion and dreams. What is difficult to grasp for a lot of people is how we could live a practical and prosperous life in today's difficult environment, a world filled with bad news, hardship, challenges. And how could we be an observer? And how do we not get overwhelmed considering everything that goes around us? Well, you need to start by living in the now, in this moment. So you're not burdened by the past or anxious about the future. You do your best in becoming excellent in what you do. Figure out what drives you, figure out what your passion is, and just become very good at it. And be grateful for the opportunity that you have to be a part of this amazing world. Is it possible? Yes. Is it easy? No. Is it worth doing? Absolutely. So let us start. And I'd like to share a few insights with you. It's Christmas, it's a season for giving, and my giving is sharing something with you that I find very, very close to my heart. Allow yourself to understand how passionate, how wonderful, and how capable you are. And get connected with the nature. Nature does an amazing thing, and it does it right. Even a tsunami might seem like a disaster, people get killed. But that's the right thing for the nature to do at the right time. It's simply cause and effect. The environment, the weather, how things are, create situations in our environment. An environment knows how to deal with it. It's like when you're mad and anxious and you go out and you reflect or you meditate. So observing and learning from nature, it also helps us to live in the moment. And that's where joy and bliss happens. Connect to the nature, to the universe, by just turning into it. It is free and available in various frequencies. Wind blowing, rain dropping, sun shining, birds singing, laughing, sharing, and above all, loving. This is all available. So depending upon your frequency and your mood, you could tap into it. Learn to love and be loving. This includes others, nature, and most importantly, yourself. Rumi says, love is the bridge between you and everything. It is really correct. When you're a loving person, you look at the world in a different way. You feel different, you communicate different, and you will see the difference. Now, another thing is forgiving yourself. We all carry guilt of either doing the wrong things or not doing the right things. It is never-ending saga of I wish I had done it or I wish I didn't do it. Forget all about it. Get rid of that wish list. Of the wish list of what you should have done and what you shouldn't have done. It's all in the past. Accept that you are the best and only path the universe had provided you. You've taken that path. Actually, that path was there for you to learn from. It has been your destiny. Of course, you could change direction and path, but don't regret what has happened. Accept it. This was the path you needed to embark on to have the opportunity to find about yourself, to find your calling, to know that you're blessed, and you could be grateful, to recognize and to be a part of the journey of discovery and enlightenment. So accept it, live with it, and don't regret it. The minutes that you spend regretting and being anxious about the past is the good energy that you're wasting, and it takes you away from helping universe help you manifest your desires. In our imagination, sometimes we think that if we had taken a different route, the outcome might have been different and then in our favor, and it would have been happier. Well, we could have taken a different path and the outcome would have been different. But would that help us? Would that have been a better outcome for us? If you change the trajectory of what has happened to what could have possibly happened, then you are to predict or in a guessing game of an outcome that didn't exist. So this is pure daydreaming and a speculation that does not get you anywhere and only causes further agony and anxiety. So forget what if. It's like a wealthy person or wealthy parents buying his child a fancy sports car upon the child turning 18 years of age, and then the child getting into a bad accident and being hurt. The parents might feel guilty and thinking that if they wouldn't have bought the car, the accident would not have happened. That could be true, but other scenarios could have taken place that we are not possibly aware of, and we never know, since the universe and the destiny did not take us there. Please stop using the word what if. Accept your decision and its consequences and let go of the past. We need to be responsible and deal with all the consequences of our actions. We need to accept, learn, grow, and move on. There's no point to get stuck somewhere and feel sorry for ourselves. The same idea also applies to marriage. I hear a lot of people who are not happily married, they're not happy with their partner, and they talk about or think about what would have happened if they would have married another person. Well, nothing, since it did not happen. It is just a speculation, and it takes you away from the reality and dealing with now and this moment. This feeling of regret and guilt about past decision is only to waste your good energy and hinder your path to growth. There is no point to blame yourself and the universe. You had made a decision, and if it is not aligned with your purpose and goals today, then just deal with it. With the best of your abilities, either manage to make it work or find solutions to change your direction. You will need to do that with open mind, balanced emotions, and a clear head. If you're not thinking clearly, if you're not aligned with your purpose, you're not going to make the best decisions. Now, once you learn to forgive yourself, then you need to learn to forgive others, or at least make their impact on your thoughts and emotions minimal. Because there are people out there who've done you wrong. And yes, people have done us wrong, or we thought they have done us wrong a lot of times. And a lot of good things in my life has happened because people try to either cheat me or treat me wrongly. It just helped me to find other ways and other solutions that actually were by far better for me. When I think about it, it was actually a blessing. So, should I hold a grudge? No. Should I remember the lessons? Yes. I heard this story many years ago that I've never forgotten, and I like to share it with you now. There's a man sitting in a very crowded subway car in New York City in the middle of the rush hour. As you've ever been in New York, the subway is a madhouse. So he's with two younger kids, and they're being bizarre. They're being obnoxious, loud, they're fighting, they're calling each other names, and people are getting disturbed. So people look at the father and there's no reaction. Like he's just sitting there and he's not taking any action to discipline the kids. So finally, I suppose a lady gets up and gets fed up with this and goes to the father and says, "Are you the father of these kids?" And he looks at her without emotion and says, "Yes." And then she tells him that, why don't you be considerate and tell your kids to be polite and quiet? The man, still looking baffled, apologizes and says that he's sorry for what the kids are doing, but they were just in the hospital and his wife had passed away from a terminal illness, and that he's not sure how to tell the children about what happened. So every time I think about this story, it makes me wonder how many times we have judged the people wrongly based on what we saw and thought and how we had perceived the situation wrongly. Like we thought we knew what has happened, and actually we had no clue. We see someone being quiet and not engaging in a party and assume that they're stuck up or they're antisocial, or see someone that is a drug addict and think how weak and irresponsible they have been. Sometimes you know the truth and sometimes you don't. But never pass on judgment unless you're in their shoes and you've experienced the same thing. Remember, people come to your life for a reason. They have a message for you. And a lot of times they're there to teach you a lesson as well. And let me close with an amazing quotation and a great lesson from Rumi about love. He says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." I wish you all the very best in your path of self-discovery and removing those barriers with compassion and love.